All right, cool. Welcome everyone to season 4, episode 9. This one is aptly called Pre-Alpha. So, what's going on? First up, Bar. We've got the first version of Bar coming live on testnet, hence the name Pre-Alpha. And this is going to be first kind of tangible step because we've got all the pieces coming together for the first time. It's very exciting. Still a lot of things that are very buggy, but initial glimpses are great. Second bit, the credit score is coming to a close. It's ready to be tested and integrated. This is something that we're really kind of excited to see come out because it's that first, in a way, loyalty program towards like a credit-based system. So making it more gamified, explaining how you can boost your credit score within what time frame. That's going to be stuff that we're going to be working on next. So communicating around how it works and how you can improve it effectively. The other bit last week or the week before, we found a critical bug in the smart contracts that's now fixed. But also highlights once again, we're really trying to close out those auditors. So still chasing them up and trying to get that booked in. We do have backup plans in case we can't get the ones that we do want, but we're still on it. The key milestones that basically let Bar go live. The first one is ironing out all the bugs on testnet. So hopefully within the next week at 2 most, that should be done. And once we know that the Merkle root is fully stable and publishing data on chain, we can actually deploy on mainnet with closed access, which will be the launch of Alpha. So very, very exciting times indeed. Second bit around platform. So we're in the process of closing out our first platform integration, fingers crossed, eyes emoji. We won't reveal any more details until we know it's over the line. The second is we're continuing work on establishing a repeatable sales process that can generate us more benefit programs. So I won't steal Liam's thunder, but he'll kind of go into more detail around the work we're doing there. And then once again, just making sure that on-chain Merkle root updater is stabilizing and publishing roots with the correct data. So TBD there. Key milestones around platform, launching that first benefits program, hiring out more engineering capacity to scale, and then shipping the next iteration of the Discord bot that allows us to create role-based Discord roles based off scores. So that's overview on like the products we've got coming out. In terms of other ones, shout outs, Liam, been working extremely hard to get the sales pipeline running and off the ground, and the amount of structure and process around that is fantastic to say the least. In terms of challenges, so we've got just more things around making sure that pipeline is effortless to scale out. There are certain stages that still require a lot of brain power to the point where you get exhausted. So that's one. The second is ensuring our first benefits program launch goes successfully. A lot of care and attention going to that from multiple people in the team. So eyes on the prize there. And third is hiring out more capacity on the engineering side to close more deals faster. So as we're working through these partner protocols, there's ancillary or accessory data work that we need done that's distracting to the Titan folks. So hiring out a dedicated resource which can handle all that for us will be really instrumental in being able to scale out the sales process and cause less distractions to the data team. That's it on mind. I'll pass it over to Gabe on the engineering side.
Awesome. All right, Kerman. What's up, guys? So last week we had some refactoring to do on the Merkle root publisher, which is now completed. And also our biggest milestone is we reached the testing phase of borrowing. So I mean, like, I feel like every time Kerman says his intro, he kind of steals half of my update, which is okay. But yeah, so we got, thank you for, well, I'm gonna go to shoutouts right away, I guess. Thank you to Hugh and community for handling, for just raising, just doing some QA on the early, on the testnet for borrowing. This is really going to help us to get this service in shape for our alpha. So, which is a perfect segue into this week. So this week we'll focus on the polishing of the UI UX on the borrowing page and on the credit score page. And yeah, it's looking good. I think we're gonna be in a good shape by the end of the week, and yeah, we'll see when we are gonna we'll find a date when we can go live with it. Also, we want to all hands finalizing and testing Borrow Alpha. Just exactly what I said. Just keep. We want to reiterate and encourage you guys to again, Hue and community, direct to Hue if you want to help to QA the app and just do multiple iterations to make sure the app just has a nice flow. And we also have to nail down some specs for the Discord bot, as we have many ideas, and we'll get to them, but we want to make sure we agree on a plan of attack to implement this Discord bot. So yeah, and the challenge is, I suppose, is just aligning everything for the alpha release, just making sure everything runs smoothly, and there are no bugs that impact any of the usage of the app by the end of the week. So that's it for engineering for this week. I'll pass it on to Kale for the data.
GM. So what's happening in our world? As Kerman mentioned, the credit score is all in a good state. It's all happy, processing, doing what it needs to do. It just needs to be connected to Polygon mainnet now. So at that point, we're basically just waiting for that release on mainnet to do that action. What else has happened last week is that we started to actually think more about this risk modeling. So the alpha release of the Borrow platform is all about technical feasibility, and the beta release is all about getting the risk elements right and making sure we're actually arbitraging that difference between what the industry thinks risk is and what we think risk is. So we started to think a little bit more carefully about that, structure that kind of faculty within ARCx. And for this week, we'll be actually summarizing all that and pitching it to Kerman to make sure he's happy with the new approach from the data folk. Other things that happened, we did release the new infrastructure last week, and that caused a couple of issues. We've corrected that and re-released it with all those corrections in place. For this week, as I said, we're going to talk to Kerman about the new modeling faculty and how that kind of works. We're in the process of porting all of our original custom scores into this new framework. And then the last piece is we had paused a lot of our custom score work and drew down from our backlog while we're all focusing on getting the credit score correct and getting towards the alpha borrow. Now that's in a good place, it's about re-spinning up that custom score kind of area within our squad and working with Kerman and Liam on that sales process. So they're the big things. Big shout out. So Diego's first shout out. He has been dealing with a lot of really nasty bugs and doing migrations. So big shout out to him for helping with all of that. Thank you for your service. And then the other shout out to Liam and Kerman. That sales process is looking really, really nice. It's really well defined. It's really efficient. And yeah, it's very cool seeing that being built from the ground up. Challenges. One of the big challenges I'm noticing is this inter-squad communication. That what will happen is the data people will do something or push some code or make a change, and it's not getting relayed to other squads. That's on our end that we need to correct. So we're just figuring out how do we improve that process to make sure everyone is socialized when new releases happen. They're all the updates from me. So Liam, over to you.
GM. So this last week, we continue to formalize sales process in a thematic thing in the discussion today. And really this just comes down to getting really clinical with how we define where a potential customer is at in their journey with us. So I'm starting to use terminologies like opportunities, leads, prospects, and targets. And we're going to start to be more data driven around those definitions. So last week we reconciled sort of a lot of the active conversations we were having into the new sales process, and that created 2 new opportunities. So I suppose just for context, opportunities is a lead that is qualified, a lead is a prospect who is engaged, and a lead is and a prospect is somebody that we have created like a plan for, and then like reached out to and began a conversation with them. So a big focus last week was on the planning stage, so we could confidently begin to prospect a number of projects. And that's really something that's going to be continuing this week as well. And Kerman and I are sort of working together on that, burning cycles, figuring out how we want to approach different projects, how we can leverage the ARCx platform to create benefits for them. So I wanted to do a big shout out this week to Kale, because he has been helping an enormous amount and is just awesome at jumping on calls with us and giving that technical confidence and data wizardry to get things moving. And it's awesome. So thank you so much, Kale. It's really rewarding seeing all the pieces come together and you know, working with the DAOs and they're just like, wow, this is incredible. Like, so it's awesome work. I can't say that enough. This week, so we had a very high energy day yesterday and decided to create a new org within ARCx called the Spartans. So alongside the Titan team, which is the data team, alongside the money team, which is the core engineering sort of team, we're going to have this Spartan team, which is going to be like more of a sales org, I suppose. So more to come there. So targets for this week, I am setting myself the goal of sending out approaching 5 new prospects, converting 2 of them to leads, creating an opportunity out of one of those leads, and, you know, fingers crossed, we get a new customer as well. So that's this week, and I'll report back on that next week. The challenges: continuing to structure the sales process. There's always work to be done there, and just make it really efficient. At the moment, we are not blocked, but there's a lot of friction in the planning stage. It requires me and Kerman to sit down for an hour session, like 4 times a week, just to move plans out so we can approach different projects. So that just needs more streamlining. And then, it's not really a challenge. I don't know why I put that in there. I must have been late. But yes, to reiterate, the Spartan sales org has been initiated. That's everything from me. Thanks. I'll pass it to Hugh.
Hey everybody. So last week was finalizing the designs and spec for the beta of Borrow. This is all completed and accepted by the engineering team, which is very exciting. And yeah, there's actually, it's a fairly incremental update. There are a couple of new pieces of functionality that will be really important for the build. So that's all come in, and the job now is to actually put that into Asana tickets and get it ready into the backlog. As well, last week we wrote a detailed launch plan for Borrow Alpha and Beta. So this covers all of our product marketing and positioning, and then all of the activities that we need to do and how we sequence them in order to get people onboarded, get the right feedback that we want, and then get them offboarded. So when we think about Alpha and Beta, just for context, Alpha is really this like internal dog fooding phase where we're going to be distributing access to just internal ARCx employees. And then when we think about Beta, we think about it in 2 phases. First is a closed beta where people will be invited based on, we want to invite friends, advisors, family, and then eventually investors and influencers. But we will do this in a stage-gated format where, we can really structure the experience, we can onboard them, we can ask them the right questions to give us the right pieces of feedback, and so on and so forth. And then over time, we'll ramp up the marketing side to coincide with our launch of what we are calling open beta, which we have an indeterminate time frame for, which is actually, it's very like fortnighty, but it's actually kind of, what we really want to do. We don't really want to have like a big bang release. We want to just continue to iterate on the product and continue to build out features. So open beta will be when more or less anyone can join, up to a certain amount in our in terms of how much they can borrow. The final thing was contact our migration agents to get the team retreat visas. So yeah, we had some issues with the Australian visas. We didn't appreciate how long it might take for some people who are overseas to get provided them. We, as a result of this, off the back of it, we basically moved to we're going to move the team retreat forward back by a few weeks. Still TBD on timing there, but the key kind of unblock that we need is to get all of the people that are currently overseas, which is 6 people. We need to get them visas approved before we make any bookings and get any confirmation around this. This week ahead, so big focus is QA. So there was initial QA done yesterday. That was like a large focus day, more or less like a design review / QA. But what we're doing is taking that initial version, iterating it this week, and then on Wednesday / Tuesday night, doing like a synchronous review with the engineers. So that's going to hopefully build some. By the end of the week, we want to have like a very stable version of the app built. So that's really main priority. Then secondly, we want to start getting, in ahead of our beta version, we want to get all the acceptance criteria for Borrow done. What do we actually need? And then how does that get translated into Asana tickets? And then the final thing here is our content strategy for Borrow and platform. So a big piece of the launch strategy is how we drive inbound interest, and this is bifurcated into 2 user types, which is for Borrow, we're looking at people who borrow on Maker or Compound or other platforms, maybe high net worth individuals, whereas the platform where the customer is actually the protocol, either community manager, marketing manager, or the engineering team. And so with those 2 different persona types, we need to actually have a very different strategy for how we communicate to them. So we need to essentially, for Borrow, which is the first priority, build up a backlog of really, really good content that explains, what borrowing is, why it's better than what exists today, what is the credit score, how does it work, and a whole bunch of other assets, so that people can onboard onto ARCx and really understand the product, and they don't have massive questions or concerns about it. So that's a big piece. It's just the strategy that I'm going to write this week, and then it will be starting with some of the content next week. Shout outs, engineering team, massive push to get the first alpha of Borrow done. It's really looking good, even in its earliest form. So massive shout out there. And challenge, I think I was meant to write something more than just the word focus. I think I was meant to write NA, but yeah, no massive challenge to me on this week. So that's it from me. Kevin?
Sweet. I mean, if you need help with the focus, it's always modifin on other things.
I lost focus during writing that.
Yeah, it's a very ironic word. It's like focus. Oh, I didn't actually do this. I forgot.
Yeah, it's like very true in its weird sense. Yeah.
Sweet. To finish off with some community questions, we had how's the offsite in Koh Samui going? Well, we're still in our countries, and it's flooding in Australia, and there's war in Europe, so it is not going to plan so far, but we will post pictures one day when we all meet. Know what I have been up to. I have been up to working on ARCx and producing content. Not sure where exactly that question was targeted for. When current staking from Woo, fingers crossed this week. We've got the contracts done, the configuration done, just last final touches on that. It's been a bit hard given everyone's heads down focused on Borrow. And when estimated Borrow protocol launch? Well, alpha is soon, but I don't set timelines. Neither do I want to. When engineering is done, we'll ship a product that we know we're proud of. So it's definitely not in the next few months, definitely in the next few weeks, though, is something that I could be confident saying. And I think that marks everything. So thanks all for joining in today. It was a good, fun yarn with everyone here, and we got some good updates going around. So have a good day, evening, night, and we will see you all next week. Take care. Bye. Yeah. Let's go.